Because I gotta go to the den. Can I still use your desk?
I'm making you steal.
I asked you about this last week.
Erica, I'm gonna mute you.
Are we on broadcast?
We are broadcasting now. I'm starting to see all the attendees. Okay. Are we still waiting on Dr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, he's
It might have been an update to Zoom, which is giving him trouble.
I just got the text from him. He says,
Oh, I see him now.
Oh,
Hey.
Hey, Doc, how are you?
Doc, how are you?
Good.
Hey, how are you guys?
Okay, is everybody ready to go? Do we have, what do we have? We're climbing in the participants. We're up to 46 participants. Okay, if we could come to order, please. And if you could join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
stands
One
nation,
under God,
Indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Vivos.
Matt, can we have a sunshine announcement, please?
Yes, one moment. All right. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been given to the editor of the Jersey Journal, the editor of the Jersey City Reporter, and posted with the city clerk on June 5th, 2020. I would like to mark this into evidence. Or do we need to stop, Michael, or we just keep going? All right, I'm gonna keep going, taking that pauses. Keep going. We're gonna go with the roll call.
Please.
Dr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Commissioner Cruz. Please check your mutes. Commissioner Cruz.
Muted, Commissioner Cruz.
Unmute. I'm here.
Okay. Commissioner Thakur.
He's muted as well.
Yes, you're muted as well. Arkesh, can you unmute yourself for 1 second for roll call?
Carl Swearele. Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Torres.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gangadin.
Here.
Dr. Desai.
Here.
Commissioner Solowski.
Here.
And Chairman Langston.
Here.
I believe that Councilwoman Waterman is going to be joining us later. She said that she won't be able to earlier in the meeting.
Okay. Can we swear in the staff, please, Mike?
Looks like I have Erica and Mallory and Matt and Tim and Liz and there's Cameron. All right, you guys swear that any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have any correspondence, Matt?
No correspondence. No old business.
No old business, so let's get right into new business. We'll call the review and discussion of amendments to the zoning map to include Mallory Avenue in the restaurant overlay zone.
All right, one moment, please.
Sure.
All right, Mallory, you can share your screen.
No, this one's not me.
No, it's me. It is her name,
It
though.
would have made too much sense.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Oh, I have to share my screen, sorry. Should I show the county notice first?
If you wish, sure.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's that. This is the notice, email notice sent to the county for the map amendment to the zoning map to include Mallory Avenue in the restaurant overlay zone.
Tim, why don't we mark it as A1 for the record?
Okay.
Thank you. Chairman, the notice will be marked as A1 for purposes of the record.
Thank you, counsel.
And this is the amendment to the zoning map that will include basically the entirety of Mallory Avenue to be included in the restaurant overlay zone, stretching from Communipaw Avenue south until Fisk Street. And that's it.
Tim, for anybody that's not familiar with what the restaurant overlay zone is, could you just, briefly describe it for us?
The restaurant overlay zone is an overlay of the existing zoning that allows for restaurant as a use, other than what's explicitly written in the existing zone.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Any questions, commissioners?
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay, that's it, Tim. Nothing else to add right now before I open public?
No.
Okay, so at this time, we will open up public comment. If you'd like to comment, please raise your hand if you're an attendee. If you're calling in, I forget, is it *9 if you're calling in?
Yep, that's right. *9.
Thank you. So if you're calling in, please press *9 on the phone. Anybody from the public want to comment?
Mr. Chair, seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Public is closed. Okay, so Tim, you had nothing else to add?
Nope.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept and approve as presented here today the review and discussion of amendments to the zoning map to include Mallory Avenue in the restaurant overlay zone and forward to City Council for formal adoption.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded.
Tim, I'll take this. On a motion to approve or recommend to council, Dr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz.
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Takur.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres.
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin.
Aye.
Dr. Desai.
Aye.
Commissioner Salowski.
Aye.
And Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Motion carries, all in favor.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the review and discussion of amendments
Thanks,
to
man.
the Wright Street redevelopment plan to remove medical office restrictions from ground floor office space, permitted use.
Matt, if you want to upgrade Oswin Hadley.
Osmond, please raise your hand. There you are. Okay, Oswald.
Good evening, all. Hold on, let me go to video here. Can you see me?
No, we just have your icon up there.
All right, I'm trying, but it doesn't seem to allow video. Anyhow, it's not necessary. I'll proceed. Good evening. My name is Oswin Hadley. Oh, hold on. It says start video.
How about that?
Yeah. Let's see. Still no.
Okay.
Some reason it won't work. I represent the Franklin Development Group, the applicant seeking a minor amendment to the Bright Street redevelopment plan. The amendment we're seeking concerns the use of a medical office in a small commercial space which exists in the building at 28 Bright Street, which exists between Barrow and Grove Street on the northern side of Bright Street. The Franklin Development Group were previously the designated developer of this site. And as the units have been sold off, they still maintain ownership of the commercial space. Basically, the redevelopment plan in the section concerning incidental and accessory uses on page 15 in zone 3 of the plan in which this building sits provides for professional office spaces with the exception of medical use. So what we're seeking today is to amend the plan to remove the term non-medical from the redevelopment plan. And this, again, this concerns a commercial space which is less than 2,000 square feet. The approximate square footage of this space is 1,125 square feet. That is basically it. The redevelopment plan has plan objectives that primarily require that this area in the Zone 3 section be primarily mixed-use residential with ground floor commercial. This property is exactly that. It's a small, modest ground floor commercial space. And the plan says that where appropriate, such uses will be acceptable. I remind the board that 28 Bright Street exists within walking distance of the Jersey City Medical Center. And that is why there's some substantial interest from the medical community to lease this space. Folks, I have with me Robert Ricciardi. Matt, I don't know if you're able to permit him. He's the principal of the Franklin Development Group and the architect for the building. If the board has any questions, he's present. If you admit him and they wish to pose any questions to him, they can do so.
I don't know if that's necessary. I'll ask the board. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody, any questions?
No.
Nope.
Okay, Mr. Hadley, I think we're good.
Very good.
And Matt, is this your case? Whose is this?
This will be mine.
Mallory.
Yes.
Are we, I mean, granted that, you know, the plan is so close to the medical center.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to open this up for the entire plan? Are we okay with that?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen really quick just so we can see the context here of the
Sure.
changes proposed. Let's see. Okay, can you all see this?
Yes.
So highlighted in yellow is just the scope of what this amendment will capture. So it's literally just to strike that non-medical language. My understanding is that they have a potential tenant for this space, which is actually a dentist's office, which by the zoning officer's definition falls under a medical use. They have reached out to the community group for this plan and gotten support from them on the change. And we feel that, I think the original intent of the non-medical was so that there wasn't a complete overtaking of this redevelopment area by an expansion or just some creep of the medical campus. But I think the plan is developed enough that we don't feel that, some medical uses here or there for small offices or small private practices are going to dramatically impact the intent or purpose of the plan, being primarily a residential mixed use zone. So we don't see any issue with this, particularly considering that we're not striking that 2,000 square foot requirement, which would ensure that any uses that would come into spaces would be smaller practices and smaller scale and wouldn't require a tremendous amount of equipment or anything that could maybe pose any kind of conflict with residential uses or residential units in the same building.
Okay, thanks, Mallory. Does anybody have any questions for Mallory? Anybody, any questions? Okay. Let's open it up for, actually, before we open it up for public, we have, I'm assuming that's Don Pepe that is raising his hand. Being an attorney, maybe we'll allow him to make an appearance on record.
Oh.
Don Pepe, is that Don Pepe?
Listen, public sucks. We don't really want them. They're a nuisance.
What's that?
Nothing to tell you, it's going to be awesome. We're here to support it, right? Only there to
Don Pepe. Don Pepe.
Listen, I'm a little concerned about them.
Okay. Let's mute Don Pepe. Okay, let's open up public then at this time. Is anybody here from the public that wants to comment? If you could, please raise your hand as an attendee, or if you're calling in, you can press *9. Anyone from the public want to comment?
Sure, seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
I second it.
The motion is made and seconded. Public is closed. Okay, Mallory, you don't have anything else you want to say, do you?
Nope, I'm happy to take roll call if you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Let's make the motion first.
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to accept and approve as presented here today the review and discussion of amendments to the Bright Street redevelopment plan to remove medical office restrictions from ground floor office space permitted use and forward to City Council for formal adoption.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Solowski?
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin?
Aye.
Commissioner Torres?
Aye.
Commissioner Takor?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz?
Aye.
Commissioner Desai?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gonzalez?
Aye.
And Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Motion carries, all in favor.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll call case P20-054 is a one-year extension for 167 to 169 Baldwin Avenue, 44 to 48 Newkirk Street.
Good evening, commissioners. For the record, Tom Lane from Connell Foley. The previous approval did obtain some deviations and variances, so this is a notice case, and I just want to make sure that council is in possession of my affidavit of notice.
Thank you, Council Chairman. I am in receipt of the affidavit of publication, proof of mailing with respect to the requested extension. I've had the opportunity to review it before the meeting. All does appear to be in order. Jurisdictions proper before this board.
Thank you.
This evening, we're seeking a one-year extension for a project that was approved by the board 2 years ago. It is a 12-story, 140-unit building with 4,800 square feet of retail and 14 parking spaces. It is located at the corner of Baldwin and Newkirk and will eventually be known as 44 Newkirk. My clients have begun clearing the property and obtaining the permits to move forward with construction. What has held them up is that they are trying to acquire a neighboring parcel on Baldwin Avenue with the possibility that it'll be used as part of the project, and that's really what's held up construction. Accordingly, this is the first extension we're asking for, and we're just looking for 1 year this evening.
Okay. Thank you, counsel. Anybody have any questions?
I just, I see on this, it's the retail space is 3,400 square feet and council just mentioned 4,800. I don't know, is that a misprint here?
It's possible it's a misprint, again, because they're possibly expanding onto another parcel. The retail is probably going to change up, but as of right now, there is contemplated retail space on the ground floor. There might be some mezzanine space too, which would add to that the number you have before you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, thank you, counsel.
Thank you.
Is there anybody here from the public that wants to comment? Anybody from public, if you could raise your hand as an attendee, or if you're calling in, you can press *9 to raise your hand. Anybody here from the public?
Public, I move to close the public portion.
Second it.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Public is closed. Erica.
I don't have any additional comments on this extension.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case P20-054 as presented to the board here tonight.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Okay, Commissioner Score,
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Dr. Desai,
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski,
Aye.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor, motion is carries.
They forgot about me.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Commissioner Cruz.
Oh, Commissioner Cruz, sorry.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries, all in favor.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to case P20-001 is a preliminary and final major site plan amendment for 150 River Drive.
Chairman, when we have Council McCann come up to this portion of the meeting, I think that perhaps, I believe it's case 11 and 12. I think maybe it makes sense that they get presented jointly because of the way the properties are situated. So I see that Mr. McCann is now up here. So hi, Council. I don't know if you heard all of my comments regarding the fact that it appears to me that case 11, which was just called, and case 12, which is docket P20-002, have a lot of integrate parts, maybe overlapping to some extent, perhaps should be presented in one shot.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Commissioners, Chairman, Council. My name is Jim McCann from the law firm of Connell Foley, appearing on behalf of Wave Property LLC on case number 11. And I was going to make a request, as council indicated, that the board also call case number 12 on the agenda for the exact reason that Santos said. It's really one project. And we have a presentation that, although there are amendments, it will make more sense, I believe, to the commissioners and be more efficient if we can present it as one matter. I would ask at the end, though, that you vote on each separate application, Santo. I think that's appropriate procedurally.
I tend to agree, Council. Chairman, members of the board, I would advise the board that we do hear them as a joint presentation, understanding that there are two separate applications that do require a separate vote and separate relief and deviation potentially, but that for purposes of moving the agenda and also so that everybody can understand the way they interact with one another, we hear the entirety of the presentation. Council, the witnesses are all the same, right?
Yes, Council. In fact, the plans apply to both applications and the witnesses are exactly the same.
So Chairman, I would just recommend that we call both. I've reviewed the notices, but we'll put that on the record that the notices are in order, but I do request that we call case P20-002 as well.
Sure, I have no problem with that. So we'll also call case P20-002 is a preliminary and final major site plan amendment for 700 Washington Boulevard.
So just for the record, Jim McCann from the law firm of Connell Foley in Jersey City, appearing on case number 12 also on behalf of Newport Associates Development Company. And just for the record, Council, I think you know this, but just for the record, I did treat each case procedurally as a separate application. So I filed an affidavit of service with all the appropriate attachments for each separate application.
And Council, I have reviewed the affidavit of publication and affidavit of service for both case P20-001. I found that affidavit of publication proof of mailing to be in order, and we will mark that as A1 for the record. And then for purposes of the record, I have reviewed the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with regard to case P20-002, and we'll mark that as A2 for the record, again, to keep the record as clean as possible. So jurisdiction is before the board. Go ahead, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just one last housekeeping item. Just Cameron and I discussed how to post documents on the digital agenda for this. And what we decided to do is we posted all of the plans on each application. So if there was an interested party, no matter which application you clicked on, you would see all of the plans for the project. We thought that was the best way to do it to avoid any confusion.
I agree, Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Having said that, just to give you a small amount of background, this is an amendment application. The reason it's an amendment application is because this entire project, both applications, were approved by this board, preliminary and final site plan approvals in May of 2017. Resolution compliance was completed, plans were signed by the chairman and secretary of the board, and then the project continued from there. This project is presently under construction. Everything that you're going to hear from my experts tonight constitute only design refinements to the project, material refinements to the project, some building lighting refinements to the project, and some interior refinements to the project inside of the building that are probably so minor, we probably didn't even have to bring them to your attention, but we are anyway. And then lastly, the one new component of the project that you're going to hear is the project has a new landscaping plan. The applicant developer decided to upgrade the landscaping to some degree, so we have a new plan with some new amenities and some changes.
Council, I would just state, given the Zoom format and the fact that everybody's had the plans and has been able to review them, and the fact that this is an amendment to a prior approval, if we could really just highlight those items that are of the utmost importance and not go too far into the weeds, that would be very appreciated.
We have planned our presentation that way, Council.
Thank you, Council.
So having said that, I will introduce my first witness, which is Matt Knowles, the project engineer from Dresner Robin. Matt, are you out there?
Yep, I am here.
Hello, Matt.
Hey.
Would you be kind enough to just put the zoning chart up for us?
Sure. Let me share my screen here.
So Matt, oh, I'm sorry. Chairman, can you please just confirm Matt and then swear him in, folks?
Matt, do you see me? I'm one of the squares.
Yeah, there you are.
Matt, how's it going? I'm just going to swear you in, all right?
Sure.
Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And could you just state and spell your name for me?
Sure. My name is Matthew Newells. My last name is Neuls.
Thank you.
Matt, are you still licensed in the state of New Jersey?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Perfect. You're qualified, Mr. Knowles.
Thank you.
All right. So the first slide is we're going to spend 1 minute on it. You will see that there's some clouding on this slide, and the purpose of the clouding is just so the planning department and the board knows the components of the project that changed since it was approved in 2017. I am not going to go into them. They are extremely minor, and they all have resulted as a result of some very minor design changes to the structure and the landscaping for the project. Having said that, Matt, can you take us to the next slide?
Sure.
The slides that Matt is presenting are all plans that were filed with this board, distributed to the board members, and posted on the agenda website. So Matt, let's just go real quick. The building itself, the component of the application that is agenda number 11 is the building itself. Can you just show us where that is real quick?
Sure. I'm sort of circling it here on the plan. It's on the east side of River Drive and right along the Hudson River.
All right, and that's sheet C300, correct?
C300, that's correct.
And at the bottom of the screen, that part of the building is the 24-story component, correct?
Right, that's in this location, 24-story tower?
Middle location is a 5-story building, correct?
Correct.
Northerly section is a 12-story building, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then when you go up further to the north, that's the second application, right? The parking for the project, which is an interim approval, and the walkway that connects the waterfront walkway, in fact, to River Drive, that's part of the agenda number 11, correct? 12, I'm sorry.
I think that's 12, yeah. That's the 12, that's the later one.
700 Washington Boulevard component.
Yes. Right, the line dividing the two is right there, if you can kind of see that. Okay.
Good. So that's why, commissioners, this is two applications. 700 Washington Boulevard is owned by one Newport entity. The other component, the building component, is owned by a different Newport entity. They are both participating in this project. And then, Matt, the roadways that you can be seen on this plan were also previously approved by the board, correct?
Correct. Yep, that's true.
In 2017.
Yes.
The clouding around the site just represents, Matt, the landscaping changes and the changes to the building, correct? That's
correct.
That's where the changes occur.
Right, in this location. Some of the other clouds on other parts are just notes that were added to the plan as requested by planning at one point or another.
And as approved, this building is 338 residential units, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
181 parking spaces in the parking lot.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
All right, this is C310. This is another plan that was filed with the board and posted. Matt, I'm going to defer to you. There's just one reason why we wanted to show this plan to the commissioners, correct?
Yeah. So the reason I'm showing this plan, it does show the location of some of the other improvements that'll be testified to, but the main reason was that because of the required electrical transformers and their conduits in this location here, the street trees that we had originally on the original approved plans will need to be rearranged. The landscape architect on our team will describe that in later testimony tonight where they were rearranged to.
Those transformers weren't there in the original 2017 approval, correct?
It wasn't fully, no, that wasn't fully arranged at that point in time.
Okay. Okay. Unless the commissioners have any questions about the site or the number of units or anything else on these plans, I can go to my next witness.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Newells? Okay, thank you, counsel. Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, my next witness is Mr. John Gehring from HLW Architects. That firm was the architect for the project in 2017. They are still the architect for the project. John is going to run us through some of the architectural changes and design and material changes that were made to the project. John, are you out there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great.
Can we swear John in?
Sure. Does John have any video at all or no?
The video is up as shown right now. Can you see that? There's a perspective up?
I can see you now. I was just concerned about seeing you. Can you see me, John? I'm waving.
I can see you, yes. Got it.
Okay, I'm just going to swear you in, okay?
Okay.
You swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I am.
And could you state and spell your name for me?
John Gehring, Gering.
Thank you.
And Mr. Gehring, we've qualified you in the past. Your license is current tonight?
Yes, it is current.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're qualified.
Thank you. So John, let me just, let me give a little perspective here to the board. So we're going to show the board two renderings. The first rendering is the approved project, correct?
Correct.
And then the second rendering we're going to show them is the proposed architectural changes to the project, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that rendering was prepared based upon the proposed plans that you filed with the board, correct?
That's accurate, yes.
All right. And the first rendering, the one that's on the screen now, was originally prepared in 2017 based on the approved plans.
That's correct.
All right. So council, if we could mark these renderings, I guess A3 and A4, that would be fine with me digitally, I guess. We thought that, John and I thought that a picture was worth 1,000 words. So we thought we'd show you a rendering from before and after, and that would be the most efficient and fastest way to just run you through some of the architectural changes. John, just to confirm one thing, the building to the left is 24 stories high, correct?
Yes, it is, 24 floors.
Now, due to a minor material change, the height of the building actually went up just less than 3 feet, like 2.8 feet, correct?
That's right, 2 foot, 10.5 inches.
Okay, and the tower on the right side of the screen, still 12 stories as approved, went up like a foot, the height?
It went up 1 foot, 4.5 inches. And the need for doing that is that we included flooring finishes and ceiling finishes as part of the development of the design, which increased the height of the floor.
Okay. So this is the approved architecture, correct?
Correct. So since the last time we met, we've done some changes to the approved plans, as council noted. The changes are all positive in nature, and the changes are all fairly neutral. So what I'd like to do is to take you through 6 exhibits, one at a time, that explain these changes. As mentioned earlier, this exhibit is of the existing and prior approved perspective as reviewed with this board. It illustrates the high-rise tower on the left, the low-rise tower on the right, with a connector in between. The intent was to have the aesthetic of the low-rise and the connector be consistent in character, with the high-rise tower being the differentiating factor in the overall design. You'll notice that on the top of the high-rise tower, there's a canopy as approved by the board. At the top of the low-rise tower, it is flat. And if you look at the fenestration of the high-rise tower, there's sort of a random pattern of the balconies going up 24 floors. And in the low-rise tower, it is fairly benign in terms of attracting the balconies to one's attention. So with that, I'd like to go to the second slide. This exhibit is a new rendering, and this exhibit illustrates the design changes since the last time we met. The design is predominantly in the facade of the low-rise and the connector building. The intent was to simplify the low-rise to make the facade more harmonious with the high-rise as an overall unified complex. The prior exhibit that we showed has a completely different aesthetic to the overall design. The fenestration is a combination of horizontal and vertical patterning of precast panels in the low-rise building. There are two different tones of color in those panels at the low-rise. One is the horizontal banding, which is a light gray color, similar to the horizontal banding in the balcony slab at the high-rise. And then we have a series of vertical panels that are a lighter, a darker gray, which are very complementary to the stone vertical panels in the high-rise tower, thereby unifying the overall aesthetic in terms of what the building would look like as an overall complex. Before we talked about the increased height in the floor-to-floor, the one thing I want to point out is that as part of that adjustment, we also looked at the parapet line at the top of the low-rise building. As you can see, we opened up the parapet with a series of openings at the facade, thereby providing a more consistency in terms of the top of that building with the top of the high-rise building in terms of an overall design vernacular. The one item I want to point out is that if you look at the high-rise tower, the slab condition at the edge is articulated in a slightly more chamfered way and more regular. As we looked at the earlier rendering with the existing prior approved perspective, the slab edges were a little bit more random. Here we tried to organize it a little bit more, which is characteristic of a building of this scale. I'd like to draw your attention to the connector in between the buildings. The connector, again, is similar in character in terms of the material finish, but somewhat different as it relates to the high-rise and the low-rise. So with that, I'd like to take you to the next slide, which is a slide that you have seen before. This slide is a perspective taken from River Drive. It is at the west elevation. This view shows the original design that was blended with the design of the low-rise tower to the left. The low-rise tower, again, was very light in color, and we had the connecting link on a similar tone and also in a similar design vernacular. I'd also like to draw your attention to the lower level of the rendering. You'll see a series of glazed openings at the retail, and directly above those openings are canopies. Those canopies essentially reside directly above the window, and they are interrupted by stone walls and columns as one would to move along that facade. I'd also like to draw your attention to the connector separating the low and high-rise building. At that connector, on the existing plan, we had a series of Juliet balconies. And also, if you go to the right, where we have a glimpse of the high-rise tower, you'll notice that the balconies start at the third floor level. This is the existing, which was approved. So what I'd like to do is now take your attention to the next exhibit, which is the revised image of what you just saw. As part of the overall refinement, we look to focus on a more pedestrian-friendly approach. And with that, we looked at a separate aesthetic on the west facade along River Drive for the low-rise connector building. And in a way, we simplified it and we provided a little bit more prominence to it, which would accentuate the reality that this is the entry portal to the building from River Drive. So with that, we changed the color. Rather than having the color, the light gray, as in the prior rendering, we changed the color to a darker tone, which is a darker gray precast panel, thereby signifying the importance of the entry pavilion. You'll notice as well that as part of the articulation of that stone, we also created a series of scoring in the precast panels, which emulates sort of a hand-set stone, which is more characteristic of a pedestrian level facade. That I'd like to draw your attention to the lower level, where we have a series of openings from the left at the low-rise building all the way to the right. In those openings, we then modified the canopies, where the canopies are now continuous along the whole level of that facade right up to the high-rise tower, where before they were interrupted. That provides us with a continuous level of coverage, as well as providing a unifying element at the pedestrian level, connecting all these various buildings. And then if you look at the right of the perspective, you'll notice that at the high-rise tower, we now introduced a balcony level at the second floor versus at the third floor. Again, providing a level of extension of the building along the entire west facade of the building. And then you'll notice that the Juliet balconies are gone. We felt that eliminating them would be more characteristic in terms of having a separation of aesthetic between the low-rise and the high-rise tower. So with that, I'd like to take you to the next slide, which is the materials board. You have seen this board before, with the exception of the upper left. On the upper left, you have seen the light color stone, which is what's positioned in the low-rise building. And you've seen the middle color, which is the light gray stone, which is characteristic of the vertical banding in the low-rise and in the high-rise. However, we now introduced a bit of a darker stone, which is the darker gray, which was the dark gray in the connector building that we illustrated before. And if you look to the sketch at the upper right, you can then see the detailed articulation in the stone, which is more pedestrian and human in scale. And you'll also notice that the canopy is now continuous versus being interrupted from the columns and the stone as we walk down the overall River Drive facade. So now I'd like to take you to the last slide, which is the lighting. We presented a lighting scheme that was approved for the overall complex.
Hello?
However, what I'd like to draw your attention to.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Is there a question?
Yes, ma'am. I'm calling because there's I have a
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, John,
Okay,
you can
I'll
continue. It's
Yeah, I'll
Jim.
continue.
You can continue.
If you look at the right perspective, this is an illustration of the low-rise tower forward of the connector and the high-rise tower. As discussed earlier on in the exhibits, we introduced a series of openings in the parapet line. And we felt it was important to illuminate those openings with a very soft hue of light to provide a level of consistency in the evening of the parapet line of the low-rise building, as well as the the upper end of the high-rise building as previously approved. If you look at the freehand sketch at the upper left, there we illustrated, the opening in the parapet, and we illustrated where we would place a linear light fixture that would gently glow up to the top of the parapet, providing a very nice subtle hue in terms of the overall lighting. Then we also took a look at the lighting at the connector podium. We felt this lighting should be fairly soft and subtle. So what we did is we introduced a series of up and down lit fixtures at the center band midway up the height of the building. And those fixtures would light the columns very gently, going upward and dropping the light downward, thereby providing a subtle screen of light only at the stone level, vertically, to provide a nice gentle splay of light at the exterior facade. And then obviously at the entry portal, we introduced a series of downlights that would signify the importance of that entry connection as one enters the building. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jim.
Thank you, Commissioners. That's the conclusion of the architectural presentation. If anybody has any questions of Mr. Gearing.
Actually, Council, I think we'll probably hear from a landscape architect.
Yeah. Can I ask a question, Chris, or should I wait till later?
No, go ahead, Eddie.
I just, John and the council, Jim, this is Commissioner Torres. You're making it sound like all these changes that we're looking at right now, are they done already?
No, the lighting of for the building has not been done. No.
Okay, the changing of the balconies, the different colors of the stone on the rendering of the entrance.
Yeah, Commissioner, the superstructure of the building is constructed, but the materials are not on it yet. The lighting has not been installed yet.
Thank you very much.
Council, I did have one question. Mr. Gearing, you showed a slide of the western elevation. You showed a before and after slide.
Yes.
I just wanted to double check with you, and obviously we'll hear more in the landscape presentation, but the original approved drawing showed trees along River Drive in the rendering. The new proposed drawing didn't show any trees. I just wanted to make sure that that's not changed.
So, Chairman, I'll answer that question. I think that Mr. Gearing's renderings were solely for the purpose of showing the board the architecture. I think we probably should defer that question to Mr. Carmen, the landscape architect, and we can explain to you the River Drive landscaping component at that point.
Okay, thank you, Council. Before we move on, Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Gearing? Okay, thank you, Council. Go ahead.
Tom Carmen? Tom, are you out there? Tom, you may be muted.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
All right, great.
All right, Tom, I'm going to refer you in, okay?
Yes.
Swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Can you state and spell your name for me?
My name is Thomas S. Carman, C-A-R-M-A-N.
Thank you.
Mr. Carmen, good evening. It's good to see you. We've qualified you before. Is your license current tonight?
My license is current. Yes, I'm a licensed landscape architect.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified.
Great, thank you.
Tom, you're the new project landscape architect for this project, correct?
I am the landscape architect.
And your firm prepared the architectural landscape plans that were filed with the board for this application, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and you prepared 2 renderings to show to the board based upon the filed plans?
Yes. Yep. We have two exhibits this evening that I could walk you through. One of them's down at grade to touch on the revisions that were made down there, and then one on top of the connector building that you heard about, where we made some modifications up there as well.
Okay, so let's look at those let's look at those now.
Very good.
Matt, can you bring those up for us?
All right, so this is the grade level landscape plan. So this is essentially a color version of the plan that was submitted with the full set of drawings, the technical submission drawings. And starting on the east side of the building, so central to the space, you'll see a triangular shaped lawn panel that's flanked either side with some passive amenities, lounge seating, barbecue grilling areas. We just kind of reconfigured some of the geometry of these passive spaces from what was previously approved. We did add two more active amenities. So on the southeast corner, you'll see a plunge pool that's highlighted in the blue tone. And then on the northeast side, you'll see a lawn panel, which is a dog run that we've proposed. Flanking both of these spaces, we still have the retail terrace. Now, one of the changes and what we really feel is an improvement is we added a set of stairs on either side, bringing one up from the waterfront walkway up to that retail terrace. So for anybody, the public walking along the waterfront walkway, they now have that direct access. They still do have on-grade or ADA access kind of along the 10-foot wide walkway that connects the waterfront walkway to River Drive, both on the north and the south side. And you're seeing kind of the midpoint of the building where that access would come in. Really the only other change to discuss on River Road. So just to the right of, or River Drive, just to the right of the lobby, you're seeing where there is a void of trees there. And as Mr. Newells had indicated, there's some below grade transformers that needed to be incorporated. So there were previously 3 trees. We were able to accommodate 2 of them, moving them further to the north, just essentially directly across from 18th Street. But when we were studying the trees, we were able to, this was approved back in 2017, which is prior to the forestry standards that the city had brought about in 2018. So we were able to incorporate those kind of tree pits, upsizing the size of them to a 5x10, which again, we feel is an improvement. So now, if we could, we'll go to the next slide, the last exhibit, which is above the connector building. So again, this is a color version of the rooftop plan. Here we're on the 6th floor, and essentially a lot of the same program elements are there. We have some private terraces, we have some lounge overlook seating opportunities, but as the construction documents advanced on this, the mechanical area actually got smaller. So centered on the space, there is a gray zone, which is a mechanical. It previously went all the way to the western parapet. And now we were able to kind of reclaim that space and use that for some amenity space as well. So that's an overall summary of the changes from the landscape architectural perspective.
Okay, Chairman, that concludes the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Council. Mr. Corman, I don't know if you actually, you answered my previous question. Commissioners, does anybody have any questions? Anybody, any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you, Council. Are we ready to go to the public then? That's your entire presentation?
Yeah, yes, we're ready to go to the public, yes.
Okay, thanks, council. So anybody here from public, if you'd like to comment, please raise your hand as an attendee and we will promote you to a panelist. If you're calling in, please press *9 on your phone and we'll call you. Is anybody here from public? We had one person that
Seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
I second it. Eddie.
We did have one person that wanted to speak. I don't see them raising their hand now. Is Raphael there? Raphael, if you could raise your hand if you wanted to.
I'm not seeing anyone by that name anymore in the attendee list.
Okay, well, in that case, public has been, the motion has been made and seconded. Public is closed. Okay, Cameron, do you want to wrap up?
Okay, so firstly, I'm just going to ask the applicant to agree to the planning staff report dated June 3rd, 2020, and the conditions listed on page 3. Does the applicant agree to those conditions?
So Cameron, you and I discussed item 4, which I think we both agreed does not apply to this project, correct?
That's correct, yes, that has been fixed.
Okay, so the staff report that I have has an item 4. It doesn't apply to the project for the record, but the applicant can agree to items 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Additionally, you know, the applicant was very easy to work with planning staff. They revised their plans to incorporate some tweaks that the planning department's urban designer had on the initial submission. The revised amendment will allow for the incorporation of planting schedules and planting design elements that are part of the 2018 forestry standards, which will greatly increase the chance for the species of trees to survive in an urban environment. Additionally, they're incorporating more native species of plants, which are better for the ecosystem. The Newport redevelopment plan is singular in its flexibility to allow for developments to meet the market conditions, and actually encourages it through the goals and objectives of the Newport redevelopment plan. And I see the addition of a swimming pool and a gym as amenities that will allow for this building to be even more enticing to the market. And lastly, goal B of the redevelopment plan allows for amenities with panoramic views, and this amendment allows for that. Having said that, and knowing that the applicant agrees to the conditions stated on planning staff report dated June 3rd, 2020, without condition 4, staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you, Cameron.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case E20-001 as presented to the board here tonight.
I second it.
Okay, motion is made and seconded for approval of P20-001.
Okay, Dr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz.
Aye.
Commissioner Dacour.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres.
I said aye.
Commissioner Gangaden.
Aye.
Dr. Desai.
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski.
Aye.
And Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries all in favor with conditions.
Thank you, Cameron. So I'll entertain a motion for P20-002 at this time.
Okay. Did somebody second that?
No,
Second.
no.
There
Motion
wasn't.
has not been made.
All right, that's what I was thought.
Yeah, I didn't hear a motion. Did anybody make a motion yet?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve case P20-002 with staff recommendations.
Second.
Second it.
Okay, we have the motion and a second.
Okay, Dr. Gonzalez,
It's muted.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner Thakur,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin,
Aye.
Dr. Desai,
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski,
Aye.
Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries, all in favor with conditions.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, we'll call case P20-036 is a minor site plan for 99 Ocean Avenue.
I just want to also, for the record, bring to everyone's attention that Council President Waterman just joined us.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, Joyce. How are you?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
Good, good.
Okay.
Okay, so we're at case P20-036 is a minor site plan for 99 Ocean Avenue.
All right, and Gene O'Connell.
Thanks, Matt. Good evening, everybody. This is a minor site plan application for a lot on the corner of Ocean Avenue and Neptune Avenue. The lot is 2,500 square feet. We are in the Ocean Avenue South redevelopment plan, and it's an application for 7 two-bedroom residential units. There's a building on the site. We did receive a determination from Historic that it has no significance and can be demolished. Tonight, I have one witness from our architectural firm. I'm not sure if it's Ahmed Amara or Jorge Mastroprieto, but they should be joining us.
Council, while we're trying to locate those professionals, I did receive the affidavit of publication and proof of mailing with respect to the application. Had the opportunity to review it. It does appear to be in order, so Chairman, we will mark that as A1 for the record.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Those individuals.
Okay, I see Ahmed is.
Ahmed apparently is somewhere.
He's coming. He's trying to come in.
One moment.
Okay, I'm here.
Good evening, Ahmed.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm going to swear you in, all right? Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And can you state and spell your name for me?
Sure, it's Ahmed Amara, first name A-H-M-E-D, and last name is E-M-A-R-A.
Thank you.
Mr. Amara, good evening. I believe we have qualified you before, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and is your license current tonight?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified, and go ahead, counsel.
All right, thank you. Ahmed, I went through the preliminary statement. So if you just go through the site plan, the facade, the
Sure. surrounding
areas, and the floor plans.
Sure. So we have a brief presentation ready, and let me. I will share my screen.
We can see your screen.
Okay, good. So as G mentioned, it's 99 Ocean. This is a quick rendering of the proposed building. The building is on the corner of Ocean Avenue and Neptune Avenue. It's in the Ocean Avenue South redevelopment plan. As you can see, all the orange on the map here is number 1, which is our neighborhood, which is our zone, which is zone 1 neighborhood mixed use. The site is it's 25 by 100, but it is it's irregular, so it's 2,431 square feet, and the building proposed is about 8,715 square feet. We are not asking for any variances. We meet the permitted or exceed it if needed. So we have the height of the building is 4 stories, 45 feet, which what allowed is 4 stories and 45 feet. So we were there, the ceiling heights and also the setbacks. This is the existing building. As Jean mentioned, we have historic, basically gave us, it has no significance, so we could demolish it. It's a vacant building right now. The first floor was being used as commercial space a while ago, and the second floor had 2 residential units. Quickly, we had some ideas and about the neighborhood and what we want to do, building a new building, but respecting the fabric of this city. So what did we do? We looked at the neighborhood and what's the prominent architectural features there. And we've seen a lot of these bay windows and projections. So what did we do? We have in the building design 2 projections. One of them wraps the corner. So it's a similar geometry, but it's done in a more modern way. Another thing that is dominant in the neighborhood is the separation between the base and the top of the building. Again, this is an infill project, so you separate that and show the difference between if there's different use, commercial. In our case, there is. So this is what we do. We have this band of metal panel that separates the top and bottom in the storefront. In this project specifically, we're using brick. Brick again is the sort of the most dominant material on the outside in the neighborhood, along with vinyl and a few metal panel facades. The building, we're using brick as the predominant material, the background of the building, and then we have black metal panel, and the windows also have black aluminum frames. There is a corrugated metal that's also black, and we soften all of that by using wood where we need fenestration for mechanical equipment and below windows. This is the site plan. We are planting 2 trees along Neptune Avenue, and the residential entry is on Ocean Avenue as well as the commercial entry. And in the back, we have a second residential entry. That's a private entrance. There is 1 unit on the ground floor, and that is directly accessed from Neptune Avenue. This is, on the left is the typical floor plan, and on the right side is the second floor plan. The only difference here is that the second floor plan has an outdoor space with a small area of green roof. And this is the proposed roof plan. There is going to be a small area for a congregation. So it's a public roof, or in this case, public for the building. So it's a common use basically for the residents of the building. This is a section of the building showing the elevation. As you can see along the ground floor, the commercial space is at the ground floor, but the residential unit is raised above the sidewalk by 3 feet. I should mention that the idea for the ground floor commercial space is that it would be used as a daycare center for infants, or infants to 2 years, I believe. We do have the roof deck, the green roof I mentioned, and this is what we like to see usually on roof decks, especially in Jersey City. And these are just some of the benefits of using green roof. And this is a quick and brief presentation that we prepared for you today. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Mr. O'Mara. I just have a couple quick questions for you, and then I'll open it up to the board. Your stair tower in the rear, that's exposed above the first floor, correct?
That is exposed to the street side, not to the neighbor side. Correct. Yes, it's an open staircase.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I misunderstood your drawings. I thought that was
No problem.
with block. So that mounts to the neighboring property?
No, it is on the, so I should go this to the site plan actually. 1 second. So the stair actually comes in 3 feet from the neighboring property, and this wall here, I don't know if you see my cursor actually or not.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so this wall here is continuous up all the way. So it is on our property. It doesn't touch the neighboring property. I should also mention that the reason why we come back in 3 feet is because the neighboring property has 2 existing windows. And so we didn't close up these windows. These windows are going to be existing and they're going to remain open.
Okay, understood. That wall that you have, let me see here. Yeah, I was just going to do the same thing. That wall, what's your material on that?
On the outside here, this is going to be stuccoed. And on the inside, we've discussed several different options, whether paint the block itself or also do the same finish, the stucco finish on the inside.
Yeah, I think, you know, we usually ask for stucco as opposed to exposed block. So if we could do stucco. Originally, when I thought that was, you know, that was enclosed, I was going to suggest maybe get in touch with the city's mural program. Even that being that it's open, I don't know. I think that might be an idea. I'll leave that up to the applicant if they want to contact the city's mural program. I think that would look great there.
I mean, honestly, we didn't think about that originally, but now that you bring it up, I see more than one opportunity for that. So I'll talk to the applicant myself because it's not just this wall, but possibly this wall here also.
Absolutely. I think that would be a great, great
No,
addition.
that's a fantastic idea. I like that.
Okay, the other questions I have for you, the outside open space on the second floor and on the fourth floor. I think you have a railing on the fourth floor, but is there a railing on the second floor or is it just parapet wall?
No, this wall is a parapet wall that's going to go up to the height of the needed guardrail.
Okay, so that's going to be 4 foot?
42 inches.
Okay, gotcha. And then there's the railing is on the fourth floor, 42-inch railing?
Yes, the fourth floor here will have a railing here and we'll have a railing, but this railing will probably be set back inside so it won't be visible. It will be along this line.
Okay, great. Yeah, those are all my questions. Commissioners, anybody else have any questions? Any questions from commissioners?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you. Council, anything else? Is that your presentation?
Our presentation, there's no variances, no deviations.
Okay, great. Thank you. So at this time, we'll open it up for public comment. If you are attending the meeting, please raise your hand and we will call on you. If you're calling in on a phone, if you press *9, we can call on you and we'll put your public comment on record.
Mr. Chair, seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
I second it.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded to close public comment, so we are closed. Erica, do you want to wrap up?
Yeah, so I wrote a staff memo dated May 21st. In that I recommended approval. The application meets the guidelines and the goal of the Ocean Avenue South redevelopment plan. It's keeping with the character with the ground floor commercial and the residential above. And it's not requesting any variances. So I recommend approval.
Okay, thanks, Erica. And I don't know if you have the information for the city's mural program. Maybe you could pass that on to the applicant.
Yes, I can do that. Are we going to make that sorry, I have my baby. A condition of approval for the mural program for the exterior of the building?
I don't think I'd want to make that a condition. I do want to make the stucco covering a condition if we could.
Okay.
But it's certainly a strong recommendation for the mural.
Okay.
Okay, Mr.
Applicant
Chair,
agrees
I'd like to make a motion.
We will contact the mural program.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case P20-0336 with the conditions set above.
Second it.
Okay, motion is made and seconded.
Okay, Council President Waterman,
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz.
Aye. And say hi to the baby.
Yeah, she's very loud.
I love it.
Commissioner Thakor,
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres. Yes. Did you?
Aye.
Okay. Dr. Desai,
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski,
Aye.
Dr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor, motion carries.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We are going to take a 5-minute break if we could. The time is 6:52. We'll be back up at 6:57. Okay, everybody?
And I second it.
Thank you. Okay.
No motion was made. All right.
I beat you, Eddie.
Okay.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi.
The most beautiful woman in the whole Jersey City. That's who you are.
You got a lot of good women on this commission here.
Oh, yeah, yes. Alice is ready to beat me up, and everybody, the doctor and everybody. But the most well-dressed, let me say it the other way.
Be careful, David. My wife's in earshot. I don't know if she heard that.
Oh, okay. I'll second it. That way I can take a break. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Mom. Todavía estoy en el meeting, pero 5-minute break. Dije, déjame, llámalo luego a ver qué onda allá.
Where is he on the agenda?
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm a minute late. Gave the dog an extra pet that I shouldn't have. Is everybody here? Can we come back to order?
Good, we're all in.
Okay, great. All right, let's call case P20-0, I believe it's 37. It's a little tough to read. Address is 158 to 162 Mercer Street.
Good evening again, Commissioners. For the record, Tom Lean of Connell Foley here on behalf of the applicant. This is a minor subdivision application.
Mr. Lean, I think you're
muted.
Muted.
Was everybody able to hear me? I cut out for a second there.
No, we lost you about halfway through there.
Okay, all right. For the record, Tom Lean, this is a minor subdivision application for 158, 162 Mercer Street. An affidavit was provided as notice is required.
Council, do we have notice?
I've asked him to start his video and unmute. I'm not getting a response.
Okay, maybe.
Oh, here we go. I think.
Were you looking for me, Matt?
Welcome back, Council.
I thought we were on a break. I'm sorry. I got caught in the other room.
We've been asked to qualify jurisdiction here.
Got like 6 screens right now. This is wild.
Council, we're on P20-037 for 158 to 162 Mercer Street.
Mr. Lean's application.
Mr. Lean's application. I want to get him done and out of here so he can maybe take care of that hair.
I don't make jokes about hair, Chairman.
I know, I was just going to say
I
that.
know,
It's
yeah.
nothing. At least we have hair, buddy.
I'm not even going to talk about where you got that cut, okay? Chairman, I've had the opportunity to review the affidavit of publication, proof of mailing with respect to Mr. Lean's application here this evening. All does appear to be in order and jurisdiction is before the board.
Thank you, Counsel.
Thank you, Counsel.
Very briefly, history. Just very briefly, a history of this project. This board previously approved the rehabilitation of an existing church and parsonage building located at 158-162 Mercer Street. In total, the project was slated for 10 units. 8 would be located within the existing church building, while 2 would be located in the parsonage, which would be treated as a 1- and 2-family home. The application before you tonight is asking for no changes to that previous approval, and the applicant plans and has been working on the rehabilitation of both buildings, and the progress is coming along there. All we're asking for this evening is a minor subdivision to actually separate the 2 buildings. It's the intent of the developer to sell the parsonage building as a 1- and 2-family home, while the actual church units will be condoed. In order to do that, we need to separate the 2 parcels. The redevelopment plan we're in, the Montgomery Gateway redevelopment plan, does not require any lot depth setbacks for existing structures. So the subdivision is as of right. And I have no witnesses because I think the plan speaks for itself. This is just simply a matter of us creating 2 new lots so the buildings can be treated separately.
Okay, thank you, Counsel. Yeah, it's very straightforward. Commissioners, any questions?
Nope.
No.
Oh,
Thank you, Counsel. So at this time, we'll open up public comment. If anybody's here from the public that wants to comment, please raise your hand in the attendee section. If you're calling in, you could press *9 and we will hear you. Anybody want to comment? Please raise your hand.
Mr. Chair, seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
I second it.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to close public comment. We are closed. Erica, do you want to wrap up?
This this subdivision will create 2 conforming lots. So I recommend approval. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case P20-037 as presented to the board tonight.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval.
Councilmember Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner Thakor,
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
aye.
Dr. Desai,
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski,
Aye.
Council President Waterman,
Aye.
okay, Dr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries, all in favor.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Counsel. Okay, let's call case P20-040 is a final major site plan amendment for 160 Lafayette Street. Mr. O'Connell, do we have you still?
Yep, I had been muted, so now I should be able to hear me. I'm the attorney for the applicant. This is an application for some site plan amendments for 160 Lafayette Street, also known as Whitlock Cottage. They're very minor. We're amending it to permit a child care center where the community center was located, as well as proposing a vehicular arm gate, freestanding maintenance shed, and a temporary signage. I have 2 witnesses, Jack Inglis, our architect, and if there's any questions for the owner, Joe Portelli. So, Jack, you're here?
I'm here. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah. Oh, this was a notice case, so I did submit my notices.
Thank you, Council. Mr. Chairman, I am in receipt of the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to the application at 160 Lafayette Street here in the city. All does appear to be in order and jurisdictions proper before the board. We'll mark that as A1 for the record.
Thank you, counsel.
Hi, Jack. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you, Michael.
I'm going to swear you in, okay? You swear any testimony that you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Jack has appeared before the board many times, so he's
Yeah,
likely
we've
to still.
qualified him numerous times. Your license is current tonight, Mr. Ingles?
Yes, they are, Christopher.
Okay, you're qualified. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Jack, would you just take us through those amendments, please, for the board?
Sure. I don't know if I should share a screen here. And can everyone see my screen at all? Yeah, but it's the wrong screen. Okay.
Yeah, we see our own agenda. That's all.
Yes. Okay, that's good. That's the screen I'm going to put this up on in a second here. I'm sure everyone's to some degree familiar with Whitlock Cottage. My client, RPM, purchased the project from New Jersey Housing Mortgage Finance Agency and has been endeavoring to finish this project. We have a large number of units in the project that are now complete and awaiting CO. We're here tonight for a second amended site plan approval. The primary reason we're here tonight is to permit the community building, and I'll get the plan of that up. Building A, which was the old powerhouse of Whitlock Cottage, was originally developed as a community building and some units, which you can't see off to the left. But primarily it was the community building. In my client's agreement with the redevelopment agency as a part of taking the project over, they had agreed to work with a nonprofit to program some of the activities in the community center. So what we're actually looking to do here is to acknowledge that the community center is going to be used during a period of time by the Boys and Girls Club under an agreement with RPM for them to operate an after-school program, which would be for residents of the project, and I believe is not completely closed to the project and is open to the neighborhood as well. We've done this on a number of developments in the past with the Boys and Girls Clubs, with the YMCA, and in order for a nonprofit to do that, they're essentially acting as a childcare center because they're in charge of those children during the after-school program. So in order for them to get a license from the DCA in order to operate, we need our CO eventually for this building to acknowledge the educational / institutional use of a childcare center so that the licensing can go forward to do that. So we're not taking the community center away, but we are bringing in a nonprofit to operate a program here. And we needed to come before the board to get approval for that so that when it is time for the CO, that can be acknowledged by the building department. So that's the major thing we're here for tonight. The other items that are that are a part of this amendment, let me just zoom out here. This is the site plan of the complex. There's the large building F in the center here, the parking garage, our neighbor's building next door, which was completed and occupied recently, the powerhouse building that I just mentioned, building A, where the community center and the child care after school program would be. And then the rest of these smaller buildings here are newer construction scattered throughout the rest of the site, an additional 29 buildings. What we're asking for as part of the amendment tonight as well is a modification to the entrance. Don't get small, get big. There are two ways into the complex for automobiles. One is at the corner of Lafayette and Manning, and that's an exit only from the parking lot. And we're proposing to add an arm gate to that to control automobile access there. So that's one amendment. The second amendment is to install a number of storage sheds for site equipment. Here in the back by a trash enclosure, here some lean-to type sheds up against the parking garage for equipment that would be used for the amphitheater in the public plaza here. There was a modification to dumpster enclosure here that was part of the agreement from the last amendment, which was we moved the dumpster that was right here near the entrance, moved it to the back, and modification to a dumpster at this back corner by building A and building number 2. And last but not least, the only other ask as a part of this application is for 3 temporary banners, leasing banners. One that would be on the low fence coming in from Maple into the parking lot, and 2 that would be mounted, a little hard to see here, on essentially the northwest side of the complex facing Grand Street. 2 3 4-foot by 36-foot leasing banners. We have applied to the Historic Preservation Commission for review of these amendments. We've received a certificate of no effect with some conditions which we've agreed to. We need to go back and revisit the colors and materials on the small shed structures with them, and to ensure that the banners are installed in such a way that it doesn't impact the brick and is only installed in mortar joints wherever it's installed on brick on the building to minimize damage to the building. So those are really the amendments we're looking for tonight. And if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ingles. I'll ask the question, but counsel, I think, I don't know if Mr. Ingles is probably the person to answer it. The Boys and Girls Club is going to take over the community center. Is that space only going to be run by the Boys and Girls Club, or will it be open to the community, you know, after hours or on weekends when the Boys and Girls Club isn't using it?
The Boys and Girls Club have an agreement to operate an after-school program. So during the hours of the after-school program, they have use of the space. But beyond that, it is still the community center for the development.
Okay, great. Yeah, that answers my question. Anybody else? Anything?
Sam, I have a quick question over Mr. Ingles. Lafayette Street, where you're gonna put the exit only, you have 2 entranceways where you want to put the levers for the cars to come in and out. Is there any other way for a car to exit out of there if something goes wrong with the mechanical equipment?
There are 2 gates into and out of the complex. There's an entrance at Lafayette and Maple. That's an in and out. And there's an out only at Manning, and that's the one we're proposing to have the arm to control the flow.
If something goes wrong there, they will be able to come back all the way around and get out on the other end?
That's correct. You could just keep going. Right now, the flow through the project is sort of counterclockwise. So if you're here and this gate doesn't work, you can just drive down this double lane, both directional parking lot and go out the gate at Lafayette.
Okay, so you won't be going against traffic.
Right.
You'll be going through the parking lot?
Yes.
I see it now. Yes, I see it now. Yes.
Yeah, and that's a two-way traffic parking lot.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, anybody else? Any questions?
Great, thanks, Jack.
Okay, thank you. Council, that's your presentation, or do you want to?
Yes, it is, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we'll open up public comment. If you would like to comment, please raise your hand. If you're calling in, press *9 and we'll recognize you. Anybody from public want to comment?
Mr. Chair, seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close public. We are closed. Matt, do you want to wrap up?
Sure. So Jack referred to a certificate of no effect that was issued by Maggie O'Neill, the Historic Preservation, under H20-215. There was a couple of their normal conditions, and also Jack testified to the fact that they're going to work with staff on the color of the sheds. And planning staff issued a memo to the board, as well as handed that over to the applicant, dated June 4th, 2020. They have addressed the staff comments that we laid out and wanted them to address. And we have two of our typical conditions, should you make a motion to approve. And in addition to that, all conditions of past approved shall remain in full force and effect, and that the applicant comply with the conditions within the certificate of no effect.
And the applicant agrees.
Great, thank you, counsel.
Perfect. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion at this time to approve case P20-040 as presented to the board here tonight.
Second it.
Okay, motion is made and seconded for approval.
On a motion to approve with conditions, Dr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz.
Aye.
Commissioner Takur.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres.
He's on mute.
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin.
Aye.
Dr. Desai.
Aye.
Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski.
Aye.
And Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Motion carries. All in favor on a motion approved with conditions.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's call case P20-011 is a minor site plan for 525 Washington Boulevard.
I'm promoting Ron Sheldon, who should be here in a moment. Ron, are you getting prompts to speak?
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Ronald Shaljan, and I represent the applicant in this matter. I made a very solemn vow to Mr. Olampi that I would not provide an opening statement tonight. So our presentation is very brief. We have two witnesses, the architect and the site engineer. The architect is going to put the exhibits on the screen, and Mr. Savino will be the first witness, but I think we have to address the notice issue first, and I defer to Mr. Olampi.
Thank you, counsel. Counsel, if you could just identify the two witnesses that need to be brought up so that staff can bring them up while I put on the record that I've reviewed the notice. Matt, do we know who we're pulling up?
Could you please raise your hand, gentlemen or ladies?
In the meantime, counsel, I have received the affidavit of publication and proof of mailing with respect to this application at 525 Washington Boulevard. All does appear to be in order, so we'll mark that as A1 for the record. Jurisdictions before the board, Chairman.
Thank you, counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Olampi. I would like to call Mr. Savino from Langen Engineering as our first witness concerning the site plan.
Good evening. My name is Len Savino.
Hi, Len. Can you see me? All right, great. Swear any testimony that you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And can you state and spell your name for me?
Certainly. It's Leonard Savino, spelled Leonard, last name Savino. I'm a principal with Langen Engineering Environmental Services, and I am a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey. And I have an active license and testifying before boards in New Jersey for about 20 years and have testified before this board as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Savino. You're qualified.
Thank you. So this application, as Ron had indicated, is pretty straightforward. From a civil engineering perspective, as you can see on the screen, very minor improvements to the at-grade level. The heavy dashed line represents the areas of disturbance, and to the right, you see one boxed in area there. It's essentially the existing planter with a monument sign. This applicant is proposing to remove the sign itself and replace that area where the planter is shown, that was just highlighted by hand, with pavers, granite pavers, to match the existing pavers in the area. And essentially, it will really open up that space for pedestrian flow of traffic. In addition, there are some minor at-grade improvements proposed in that semicircular area around the entrance. Again, just paver replacements with granite pavers and some small uplighting that's shown in those small circles that surround in that semicircle. Essentially, those are the improvements for the entrance at grade.
Thank you, Mr. Savino.
Thank you, Mr. Savino. Any questions, anybody on engineering for Mr. Savino? Okay, thank you. Counselor, go ahead, please.
Next witness is Linda Kriszkowski from Studio 5 Architects.
Hi. You're muted right now. All right, great. I'm gonna swear you in, okay? Do you swear any testimony that you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I didn't hear you say anything. I still.
Linda, is it possible that you can call in on a phone? And we might have to either pause or move to the next item. It seems as though maybe there's a problem with the microphone on your computer. If you want to let us know what how you're trying to mitigate, you can chat into the box.
You sound like a robot.
Are you seeing her phone number yet, Matt?
Please raise your hand once you get in, and I will be able to promote you. Are you going to, if you can raise your hand, I believe it's, what is it, star 9?
Star 9 on the phone.
Star 9. If you just press star 9 into your, okay.
Okay.
All right. Linda, I think we can hear you. We might have to lose your video feed if there's some reverb.
I don't know.
If you mute your computer's audio, turn off your computer audio, and keep your video, and you'll just have to listen to the phone.
Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Wait, you can see me and I can hear you. I'm going to swear you in.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
The money you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thanks.
Linda, you're a principal of Studio 5 Architects, are you not?
Yes, I am.
And have you appeared before planning boards and zoning boards in the state of New Jersey before?
I have.
Have you been
Although-
qualified as an expert witness?
Yes.
Are you licensed in the state of New Jersey?
Yes, I am.
And is your license current?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. You're qualified.
Now, Linda, would you please put up on the board your exhibit, the drawings?
Okay, share screen. I thought I had, but okay. Do you have it?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, would you describe for the board the renovations that are contemplated by the applicant for the facade and the signage?
Certainly. I'm just going to go to the next sheet. This current sheet just shows where we are located. The building has been in place for quite some time, and we're just looking to renovate the entranceway. So this sheet Z002 shows the image of the existing front of the building, the primary office tower entrance, where it has its existing signage here, where it says Newport Tower, as well as identification signage here, which gives the address of the building. What we are proposing to do is actually lighten up the entire entranceway and reskin it. So we're looking to basically remove all of the existing curtain wall as well as some of the front columns and reskin with a new curtain wall with a very clear glass with a higher efficiency and very like a light gray framing mullion, and re-support it with using a stainless steel encased structural arch. Excuse me.
Now, are the materials that are proposed for this renovation shown on the drawings that you submitted?
Yes, they are. So if you'd like me to flip to that, I will.
Yes, please.
This is basically our last sheet, which shows the materials we're proposing, which is it's a low iron glazing, so it's very clear. There's really no green tint to it, so it'll be a very open appearance. The metal would be all of the framing metal for the support. It will be painted a light gray. I'm sorry, this is the paint. The metal here will be the encasement of the structural arch in the front. The granite pavers are the ones that will be at the base, at the entranceway. And these concrete pavers are actually where the infill will be, where the pylon sign was. Overall, the new sign that we're showing over the top of the arch is actually smaller than the existing sign that was originally at the top of the roof, as well as the added identification, the address signs that'll be on either side. You can just see it here, and it'll be on the other pier as well. Overall, this is a reduction in signage area.
Thank you. I have no further questions of this witness.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Anybody, any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. Council, anything else?
No, I just have a comment to the planner's report, and when we get to that, I'll just make that comment.
Okay, very good. Is anybody here from the public that wants to comment? If you could, please raise your hand, or if you're calling in, press *9. Anyone from the public?
Seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
Second it.
Okay, public is closed. Cameron, do you want to wrap up?
Yes. Okay. So let's address first the applicant's comment regarding the staff report dated June 3rd, 2020. What was it, Ron, that you saw?
Yeah, in number 1, I just like the wording to change a little bit, where you indicate that an affidavit will be submitted confirming that the final building. Now, I would like that amended to say the improvements which are the subject of this approval instead, because we're not doing work on the final building, on the entire building. It's just this minimal amount in the entryway.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And we'll make sure that that's in the resolution when it's.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
But so other than condition 1, where we are going to change the wording to include improvement rather than building. The applicant agrees to the staff report, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and planning's comments are just to further reiterate, the materials comply with the Newport redevelopment plan. The application scope comports with the Newport redevelopment plan. As far as signage goes, the only thing Newport redevelopment plan really strictly prohibits are internally illuminated signs, and these signs are not internally illuminated. For those reasons, staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Cameron.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case P20-011 as presented to the board here tonight.
Second it.
Motion made and seconded for approval.
Okay, Dr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner Thakur,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin,
Aye.
Dr. Desai,
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski,
Aye.
Council President Waterman,
Aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries, all in favor with conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, council. All right, let's move on to case P20-010. It's a minor site plan with deviation for 84 Maple Avenue.
You're muted, Matt.
I'm going to chime in here real quick. So we have Ken Rahim. He is representing himself. He is pro se. He's the owner of the property. And I'm going to ask him to unmute himself. And he also has his design professional, Alan Feld, with him tonight.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
I'm Mr. Rahim. Can you see me?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I'm going to swear you in, okay? Do you swear any testimony that you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Rahim, good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman, for the record, this is a notice case. I am in receipt of the affidavit of publication and proof of mailing. It does all appear to be in order, so we will mark that as A1 for the record. Mr. Rahim, I've had the opportunity to review the plan, and I know all of the board members have had such an opportunity. It appears that there is a rear yard setback requirement which is causing jurisdiction to be before this board. That's essentially the deviation that we're being presented with tonight. I note that it is a 3-story single-family property, and it's my understanding that this is a attached single-family property, meaning it's attached to the building on either side of it. Is that accurate, sir?
Yes, correct.
Okay, Mr. Rahim, I think it best if we just have your professional sworn in and he can walk us through the modifications to the building and specifically address the rear yard issue.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Rahim. Mr. Feld and Mike, I'll let you take over.
Hi, Alan. How you doing? You see me?
Yes, I think so.
Or any testimony that you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And if you could, state and spell your name for me, please.
Alan Feld, A-L-A-N-F-E-L-D.
Thank you.
Mr. Feld, good evening. We've qualified you, I don't know how many times now. Anyway,
Right.
your license is current tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified.
This application is to construct a new one-family house on an existing vacant lot. It's a 3-story, let me get the right. Let me see if I get this right. Oh, there we go. Is that it?
Yes.
Yeah, we gotcha.
You can see it?
Yes.
So this is in the Morris Canal redevelopment zone. It's a permitted use in our district. Unfortunately, it's an undersized, it's a small lot. It's 70 feet deep by 15 feet wide. The requirements are similar to the R1 zone with a 35-foot front and rear yard. The existing houses on this block have 0 front yard, which would require a 35-foot rear yard. We are complying with the building coverage, which is a maximum of 60%, which leaves us with a 28-foot rear yard rather than the 35-foot required rear yard. And basically that's the reason why we're before this board.
So, Mr. Feld, you're short 7 feet, but the property is deficient 30 feet in depth. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
And Mr. Feld, if we could, the properties on either side of you, do we know how far back they?
Yes. Let me, if I can show you. So I don't know if you can see this. So this is our property here. These 3 lots are all 70 feet deep. The one to the left is 100 feet deep.
Okay.
And
As far as the structure goes, does that match up with the property to the right?
The property to the right is an older, smaller building, and goes back. I would just be guessing about 30 feet, maybe 35 feet. We go back 42 feet. You can see it here.
Okay, gotcha.
Mr. Feld, could you just go back to that tax map, please?
Yes.
Now, this lot 12,
Lot 12? Yes, that's this lot here.
yes, there's a structure on that property and it faces, I don't know what that cross street, is that a street?
Yes,
That's Whiten.
that's Whiten.
So lot 12 faces Whiten. It is 30 feet wide
Fine.
and 60 feet deep, correct?
Correct.
And you're in
65
the,
feet deep.
and you're in the last 15 feet of that property.
That's correct.
And the current condition is that that 15 by 30 on lot 12 is that lot 12's backyard?
That's correct.
And if they had to preserve that 30 feet, that would remain open space, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And just a correction, I'm sorry, the opposite direction is Whiten. That street that 12 fronts on is Pine Street.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Feld. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Feld? Any questions for Mr. Feld? Nobody? Okay, thank you, Mr. Feld. Mr. Rahim, anything else you want to add?
No, I have nothing to add.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we'll open it up for public comment. Is anybody here from public that wants to comment? And we have Mr. John Keegan. We will promote you to a panelist.
Hi, everybody. Thanks. John Keegan.
Hi, John. Can you see me?
One second, John.
All right, John, I need to swear you in before you say anything, okay? Can you raise your hand? Do you swear any testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And if you could just state and spell your name for me, please.
John Keegan, John Keegan.
Thank you.
Thanks. So I own 86 Maple, which I think in the diagram you just showed was lot 17, if I'm not mistaken. At any rate, I just wanted to quickly raise, and the reason I joined tonight is just to express that in the early part of 2016, there was an awful lot of work done on the street because I had to file 7 homeowners claims because sewage was kicking up from the ground level in my home. And to the city's credit, they got on it when I contacted the city, but I just, wanted to reiterate in case anyone's not aware that, there have been severe plumbing issues on the street. Historically, they have been improved dramatically since the early part of 2016 when that work was done. But that during flash flood warnings, there continue to be issues in terms of sewage kickback. And it's not just me. My neighbor has reported this to me also, that he continues to have issues in it's sort of like a basement level of the home. So that's the main thing. And then just secondly, it would be great to understand, and I don't know if this is the appropriate forum for this to be detailed, but it would be great to understand when the construction will kick in and how long the project will last. So with that, thanks for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Keegan. I appreciate it. Mr. Rahim, any idea on when you're going to start construction?
I promised my wife to finish it next summer for our 50th anniversary. So I do my best.
Okay, congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
When do you think you'll be starting construction?
As soon as I can, as soon as the whole thing done by the city.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Keegan, you have about a minute left if you want to jump back in for anything.
No, thank you all.
Okay, thank you for coming out. Anybody else here from public that wants to comment? Please raise your hand. If you're calling in, press *9 and we can see your hand raised on our screens and we'll call on you. Anybody else?
Mr. Chair, seeing no more public, I move to close this portion.
I second it.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Public is closed. Matt, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I'm just going to round out some testimony more so than normal, just proceeding nature of this application. So June 3rd, 2020, a memorandum was issued to the commissioners and provided to the applicant. I won't go over the application summary, but I will just again highlight the table, zoning table, and an excerpt from there has been provided in the memo. Again, reiterating the lot area of 1,050 square feet, 15 feet of lot width, and 70 feet of depth. I think it's important to note, and maybe wasn't spoken to, that they are meeting their lot coverage and their building coverage maximums. So they're at 60% building coverage, which is the maximum permitted, and they're at 71% lot coverage when 85% is permitted. Again, they are asking for that rear yard variance, but as you can see, that probably fall under a C1 criteria for this variance. And with the fact that they are meeting the building coverage, I think that they are showing that there is no substantial detriment proposed to this application. We just have some, scrolling to the bottom, just our standard conditions that testimony is of the witnesses is binding, that the color selections shall remain on the final plans, and that the architect shall provide an affidavit confirming the development is built in accordance with the approved plans prior to the issuance of a CO. And with that, no more comments.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion at this time to approve case P20-010 as presented to the board here tonight.
Second it.
Okay, motion for approval is made and seconded.
On a motion to approve with conditions, Dr. Gonzalez,
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz,
Aye.
Commissioner Takur,
Aye.
Commissioner Torres,
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin,
Aye.
Dr. Desai,
Aye.
Council President Waterman,
Aye.
Commissioner Slavsky,
Aye.
and Chairman Langston.
Aye.
All right, motion carries all in favor. On just a note for our public commenter, John, I will be sending on an email over to JCMUA just to see if there's anything in their for lack of a better word, pipeline on figuring out any other issues for Maple Street.
Okay, thank you, Matt. And Mr. Rahim, do right by your wife. Start that building soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, let's call case P19-200 as a minor site.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Minor site plan with C variances for 160 Green Street.
All right, a little behind here. Was the attorney on that?
I believe it's Don Pepe.
Okay.
Let me share my video. Hey, good evening, everyone.
Don, good evening.
So I have Tom Golden and Ashley Bryn. And Ashley's going to be sharing her screen, Matt.
Let him come in.
Mr. Chairman, while we're bringing those members into the fold, I have received the affidavit of publication proof of mailing with respect to this application. I've had the opportunity to review it. It does appear to be in order, so we will mark that as A1 for the record.
Thank you, counsel. First, I apologize. I'm not wearing a suit, but I've run out of dry cleaning, and my dry cleaner's not open yet. Don Pepe from Scrinsky Hollenbeck on behalf of the applicant, MC Plaza 5 LLC. You may know this as a restaurant Porto Lagardo. We are here seeking some signage and exterior furniture to allow outside dining. Without any further ado, I ask Tom Golden to take you through the plan and the improvements. It's a relatively simple application. Should only take a few minutes.
Good evening.
Ashley, if you can put up the plan.
Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you state and spell your name for me?
Thomas Golden, Golden.
Mr. Golden, good evening.
Good evening.
We've qualified you before. Is your license current tonight?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified.
Okay. As Don indicated, it's a relatively simple and straightforward application at Plaza 5, which is the 34-story high-rise on Hudson Street. Porto Lagardo is the ground floor restaurant, the first-class restaurant that's there. We're looking to add a 140-square-foot vestibule to help protect people from the weather, also to provide a better environment for the people who are sitting right inside the restaurant so they don't get blasted with the wind and the conditions from outside. We're looking to add in the little niche in the building. Ashley, if you go to the last page, maybe the rendering might best for the commissioners to see. There is a little area there that is 352 square feet that we want to add some tables and chairs that would allow people to sit outside in nice weather. And again, to protect them from the winds along Hudson Street, we're providing a plexiglass screen or barrier. It should be the last page, actually, the renderings. Go to the renderings at the end. The commissioners would best be able to see that.
We have a problem.
Okay, I'll just keep going while she tries to get that. The third element of this application are some signs. Right now, there is a single sign that's on the Porto Legero temporary vestibule that exists there now. We're looking to add 3 signs, one on the front elevation and one on each side of that vestibule, as well as another sign on the lounge, which is closest to the outdoor seating area. So those are the elements that make up the application. What we need from the board, besides minor site plan approval, is that the signs require deviations. The redevelopment plan, the Exchange Place North redevelopment plan, allows for 1 sign not to exceed 10% of the area of the ground floor to which it's attached, and that those signs can't extend more than 15 inches from the facade. In this instance, I'll deal with the second one first. The reason it extends more technically, it's more than 15 inches from the facade, is because it's on the vestibule, which projects out from the main portion of the facade. So the signs realistically couldn't be, have to be more than 15 inches from the facade because they're attached to the vestibule. We are looking to have a sign on each of the elevations, the front elevation that faces Hudson Street and both the north and the south elevation on the vestibule. These are relatively small signs. We're talking about 6.5 square feet on each of those signs and about 3.5 feet on the sign near the lounge. The ordinance allows you to do up to 10% of the first floor area. The restaurant has a frontage of over 150 feet. So technically, you would be able to provide a single sign of up to 195 square feet, or 4 signs provide about total of 25 square feet, well below what's allowed under the ordinance. We're asking the deviations because we believe it complies with the C2 criteria under the land use law, specifically that number 1, it would promote the objective under 4055D-2A, since we're providing a permitted and appropriate mixed-use building that's consistent with the surrounding development. And due to the existing building columns and street trees along the frontage, the existing entrance is pretty obscured from view. These signs would promote better public safety by providing a recognizable entrance to the restaurant and lounge that can readily be seen by emergency personnel and the general public, whether they're traveling by foot, by car, or on the LRT. The signs are easily distinguishable, and through the creative use of color, lighting, and materials, they contribute to quick identification of the building. The second criteria that it satisfies is 55D-2G, in that granting these deviations would reinforce previous municipal actions which zoned this site for commercial use precisely because it is in an appropriate and accessible location to meet the needs of downtown Jersey City residents for food and drink. Thank you, Ashley. Now that they're up, let me finish the testimony. I'll go back to them. We want to have this Plaza 5 and Harborside itself remain a commercial hub and enhance its attractiveness to employees, employers, and residents. While the redevelopment plan allows up to 195 square feet on the front facade, we're providing approximately 25. Third and last, this will create and promote a more desirable visual environment through creative development techniques consistent with 55D-2I. The signage is attractive and compatible with the scale of Plaza 5 and is well within the existing site design. It has a modern and contemporary look that's attractive and in scale with the surrounding, in its surroundings. The proposed signage will promote a desirable visual environment through good design. Regarding the negative criteria, we don't believe there are any. The nearest private properties are hundreds of feet away on Columbus, on the south, and 2nd Street on the north. The other buildings across the street from Hudson are also owned by Matt Cali. This is also all part of Harborside. So these signs in no way, shape, or form are they visually obtrusive or disturbing to any adjacent property owner. In fact, it's not like these signs can be seen at all by those other property owners. The deviations don't impair the intent of the zone, but in fact reinforce the zoning for the site and consistent with the intent of the ordinance, provide suitable and attractive commercial uses in the Harborside West District and doing it in the most unobtrusive way. I'd like to just go back now to the renderings a little bit so the commissioners can see. The top right picture is a picture of no, stay there, Ashley. There you go. The perspective there, you see the new vestibule and the sign, as you can see on the left, the existing one, the little temporary vestibule and the little sign that's there. The signs we have, again, on the north and the south are there because you can see this vestibule is tucked in under the building. It's part of it's underneath the overhang of the building. So the columns that you see there and the street trees that you see there really don't provide a lot of visibility for people going up and down Hudson Street. And just having the sign on the front facade, you may very well lose that if you're not looking at that moment. If you scroll down a little, Ashley, to the renderings on the bottom. Again, that will give you a little perspective there of the lounge sign that is on the facade. And just to the right of that is that little seating area, which we provide tables and chairs and that acrylic plastic screen. Again, on the left, you can see the niche that's there now with the Harborside signage. To the right, you can see what we're proposing. The materials for the signage and the vestibule and the acrylic are also included in the plans. They should be, I think, I forget what sheet they're on, but they're in the plan set. The commissioners need to take a look at that. That is the sum of my testimony, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Tom. Tom, we received a planning memo dated 6/3/20, staff memo. Any issues with any of the comments or conditions in that memo?
No, I think just like the other applicants, I think since we're only adding this little vestibule in the front and some signage, that we provide the affidavit that the improvements to be developed will provide an affidavit for that, as opposed to the building, which has obviously been there for 18 odd years.
Thank you, Tom. I have nothing further.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Any questions, commissioners? Anything? Any questions? Anybody?
No.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pepe. That's your presentation?
It is. Just to sum up, it's listen, it's a Class A restaurant. It's long overdue for the presence that it deserves. As you can tell from the many applications that have come before this board, with respect to Matt Cali, they're trying to bring some life and some vibrancy to that street front, and I think this just adds to that cumulative package. I respectfully ask that the board approve the application.
Okay, thank you, counsel. Is there anybody here from public that wants to comment? Please, if you could raise your hand. Okay, we have one, and we will promote you to a panelist. All right, Mr. Kalinowski, we should have you.
This is Matt. I'm not seeing him anymore. Or, oh, now I am. Okay.
I think he's muted.
All right.
Okay. Did you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I tried to...
One moment, Mr. Kalinowski. Do you have a video at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, start video. Yeah. Stu.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Great.
Did you see me?
Can you see me?
Yes.
Like, I'm the court reporter. I just need to swear you in, okay?
Wait 1 second. I have a question. I mean, this is like I try to connect to the. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Let me swear you in, all right? Do you swear any testimony that you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And could you please just state and spell your name for me?
Dariusz Kalinowski. First name is Dariusz, and last name is Kalinowski. Kalinowski.
Thank you.
Evening, sir. We have 5 minutes for you for comment.
Good evening. This is not my comment is not about this case. I have a technical difficulties, and if I can address a few words to the case, the previous case, P20-101.
84 Maple Street.
84 Maple Street.
Okay, we've already.
I know. I try to address during before the voting, and you close the public access. I don't have a chance to talk. If I can do it, so okay. If not, I have to.
Just ask the owner.
You know what?
I know this is not.
These are sensitive times that we're working on the computer here. Can I give you?
Unfortunately, the application's already been voted on, so
I understand.
It doesn't matter. Let's
you can't reopen the deliberation. The action's already been taken by the board. So depending on what
I sent that email to the board yesterday, and I waiting for the opportunity to 3 hours already. So I don't know if I cannot say anything. I don't say anything.
I would be happy to give you my email, and and you can email me your contact information. I will give you a call this evening if it's not too late, or tomorrow. You let me know the time that works best for you.
Yeah, today, please.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my email. You have a pen and paper?
Yes, 1 second. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It's M as in Matthew, ARD at jcnj.org. And I'll put it in the chat as well.
Okay, please.
MWAID.
M Ward, WARD
Word.
at JC like Jersey City, NJ like New Jersey .org.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Just send Matt your telephone number so he can contact you.
Yeah.
Yes, telephone number.
Please. My phone number is 201.
No, don't say it in public. Just email
Just
Mr.
send me your email, and I will get
I'm gonna send
you in touch with you. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, but I try to address something. Okay, thank you.
That's all right. You love my application, right?
application?
Excuse me?
Do you have any comment about the application that's being heard?
No, not. This is okay. I'm not.
Okay.
Not this.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, seeing no public for this case, I'd like to make a motion to exit.
Let's give it 1 more second, Orlando.
Okay, we can give it as many seconds as you want.
I was ready to second it.
I know you were.
Okay, go get him, Orlando.
No, I don't want to do it. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close the public portion. I made it.
Second it.
Thank you.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Public is closed.
Okay, so planning staff just asked that the applicant agreed to the conditions stated on the staff report dated June 3rd, 2020.
And we did, subject to the one minor change in the language on the affidavit.
Okay, agreed. And that'll be in the resolution. We will not say the building, we will say signage on the vestibule. But okay, so you agree. Thank you. Staff is satisfied with the testimony regarding the variances. Planning staff feels that there's no detriment to the public health, general welfare, and no detriment to the zoned plan. And just anecdotal comment. I've always felt like the light rail that severs the street really inhibits that signage. So that could maybe be seen as a bit of a hardship here. And I think the signs are tastefully done. And with that, staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Cameron.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case P19-200 as presented to the board here tonight.
Second it?
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Okay, so Dr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz.
Aye.
Commissioner Dacour.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres.
I don't see Don Pepe on the screen, but I was just wondering if he doesn't have his suit on. Is there an indoor pool in that background of his, you know, an in-ground pool? He looks very comfortable back there. With that, though, I do vote aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Gangaden.
Aye.
Dr. Desai.
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski.
Aye.
Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Chairman Langston.
It's an aye for me. Yeah, the signs are tasteful. I think it's definitely a good upgrade for the site. And Mr. Pepe, if you find yourself in Jersey City anytime soon, I'm sure we can find you a dry cleaner that you could support Jersey City's local economy with. So that's it for me.
Okay, with that, the motion carries. All in favor with conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Okay, let's carry on to case P20-046 is a preliminary and final major site plan amendment for 340 West Side Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Charles Harrington of Connell Foley on behalf of the applicant. We did provide notices with regard to this amendment, so I'd ask that they be reviewed and marked into evidence.
Thank you, counsel. I've had the opportunity to review the affidavit of publication and proof of mailing. All does appear to be in order, so we can mark those as A1 for the record. Just ask that you note this is the sun in the back of my head. It's going down behind me, so if we could get this done before that hits the bottom of the horizon there.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, I don't want you to hurt yourself and lower the blinds there, Council.
I know, dude.
The reflection.
Don't touch those blinds, Chairman.
Oh, well, then I'll get right into it. This is a pre-existing approval, obviously, where it was approved in 2017. We were recently before the board in February of this year for a 2-year extension. It's a 5-story building with 60 residential units and 30 parking spaces. What's being presented to you tonight are a number of amendments that we're proposing. They're really, as a matter of really a reflection of we're getting closer to construction. So we looked at it and made some changes, and then most of the changes are to the interior. Some of the major changes here are we relocated stairs to the rear of the building. We added an elevator to the building. We had to provide for the transformer room along the front facade, as many buildings do. That disrupted the facade. And we have a very slight change in the parking garage layout just as a result of moving those stairs. So those major changes resulted with a lot of interior changes. That's what we're presenting tonight. Nothing else has changed. You know, the bulk of the building has stayed the same. The number of units, number of parking spaces. I have Raul Cabato is the architect who was the architect at the prior approval, and he's here tonight, and he's going to walk you through the changes for the board. And is Mr. Cabato, has he been promoted as a panelist yet?
Not yet.
I also know for the record, while Raul is being promoted, that we did receive comments from the Jersey City Engineering Department, which were very nominal. They were just basically an update from initial comments, and we have no problem complying with those comments.
I roll. You see me?
Yes,
All right, I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear any testimony you give tonight is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you state and spell your name for me?
Raul Cabato, Raul Cabato.
Thank you.
Mr. Cavato, we've qualified you numerous times here. Is your license current tonight?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, thank you. You're qualified.
Okay. Let me just share my screen. Can everybody see the screen?
No, I actually can't take my eyes off of your pool right now.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to put the screen down. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raul Cabato. I'm the architect of record for this project. Just to begin with, I have the zoning chart from what was previously approved to what we are proposing now. I just want to note that we are not changing the number of units, which is 60. We're not changing the number of parking spaces, which is 30. We're not changing the number of bicycle parking spaces, which is also 30. All the setbacks remain the same. The materials have not changed. And we feel that the changes that we are proposing, some of the changes will enhance the occupancy of this building. So with that said, I'm going to go over the changes that we went through. One of the changes was the relocation of the stair. It used to be in the middle portion of the building. We moved it back to the rear, and I'll show you upstairs why we made such decision. We also have now a trash chute for the building, which is located in this area, whereas before we did not have a trash chute. The commercial space on the first floor is reduced due to the reconfiguration, and that is because we have we had to put a electrical transformer transformer room in this area. It's a substantial sized room, and this was done in consultation with PSE&G. And so with this addition, we had to pretty much reconfigure the ground floor with the idea of keeping the parking the way it is and accommodating all the ancillary spaces that we needed. That reduced the size of the commercial space almost by half. The other addition we made was we added another elevator, whereas before we only had one elevator, we now have two. Okay. So on the second floor, on the upper floors, we now have, like I said, we moved the stair to the corner, and I think it made more sense in terms of getting the trash chute relative to where we were going to be storing the garbage. We also, one of the major changes we made was the configuration of the middle apartments. There still are 4 apartments, but whereas before we had one huge opening, we just made 2 smaller openings, and we did that because we felt that it would enhance the quality of the light for the units, where it would be lighting both the living room and the bedroom instead of this sort of narrow corridor over here for light. And that was the main reason why we did that. With the change of the stairs, it obviously changed the layout of the apartments on this side. I just like to note once again that we did not change the number of apartments. We kept them the same. They're all 1-bedroom units. Okay. As far as the roof goes, as the stair bulkhead is now located in this area, we propose to put an emergency generator on top of that stair bulkhead. Here are the new openings. We're also, the elevator machine rooms are located on the roof. That's the only change to the roof. As far as the elevation goes, the the change really reflects what was happening in the inside, the interior. These are the previously approved elevations, and at the bottom are the revised elevations. We've kept most of the windows, actually the upper floors are all the same. The only changes are in these rooms over here where we have the commercial, the transformer room, the building entry, and the meter rooms. As far as the rear portion, the owner made a decision that instead of using CMU for the ground floor, we're now just going to cast it in concrete. So it's going to be poured in place concrete as a base, and we're going to have frame construction above it. Also, I'd like to note that on this drawing, we started showing the exhaust as it would appear on the facade. So we've got that. And once again, the side elevation shows the relocation of the stair from the middle to the rear. And yep, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cabato. Commissioners, any questions?
I have two questions for Mr. Cabato. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
First one's with the exhaust. When you showed that, I'm trying to find it on the tablet. Is that are your exhaust going to the rear of the building? That's not in the front of the building, is it?
Some of it is in the front, yes, sir.
And there are round plates, or are they like a PVC pipe sticking out?
They're tiny. They're not really PVC. They have you know, mostly like a dryer exhaust, that kind of thing. And it would.
Are you going to match the color, or is it going to be like a white dryer exhaust plastic sticking out of the wall?
No, we don't envision it being a white. I think it'll stick out too much. I mean, we'll try to match the color of the windows.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them on that front building. But it's definitely not going to be a 2-inch or a 3-inch PVC 90 facing down, is it?
It's not going to be sticking out per se. It's going to be mounted to the wall.
Flush to the wall?
Yeah.
Plate cover, right?
Plate, okay. Okay, that I can see. All right, my next question.
And we can match the color, try to match the color of the brick.
Yes.
Yeah, please, if we could.
Yeah, if we could, because there is a lot of them on the front of that building. Can I go to your ground floor level drawing?
Yes, sir.
Where you make the changes on the, okay, right there on your, okay, this is the one that was the existing, now where the car is parked, and that, is that on your right-hand side? The revised ground floor plan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, where the car is parked by the elevators.
Right here.
You put the new elevator, you got that car, yes.
Yes.
Are those bicycles that are hanging behind that car?
Right, it's going to be a combination of a hanging and on the ground.
So what's going to stop that car from running into those bicycles?
I think I think that's why
you're not giving them a lot of room.
No, it's not. We're showing. That's why I think we showed this arch here. It shows sort of like the turning radius into this space.
Into that space. So if somebody put their bike on a flat sticking out, a bicycle's about 6 feet to 7 feet from wheel to wheel, or 6 feet maybe, or less, maybe less. You don't see that into that car, into that radius?
Well, I think that's the reason why we have that to show that radius, to show that it does clear it.
Only, but you just said you're gonna put bicycles flat and bicycles hanging on a wall.
That's
Which one
correct.
is it? Which one is it?
It's going to be a combination because it's going to be 30 bicycles.
I think what we could do, I understand what you're saying, Commissioner Torres. I think
If they're
maybe
flat,
yeah,
they're
maybe we
flat,
could-
you're gonna hit that bike.
Yeah, we could push the bike rack towards the rear of the building, and not
that will
because
work.
we got space there in the corner.
Yes. Because my wife wouldn't let me to put my car. She wouldn't let me get that close to somebody's bicycle. She won't trust me.
We're not gonna let you park here.
Just say clearly, I'm gonna hit the bicycle. Yeah, I just find that very close there. If
Yes,
there's
sir.
something you could do with that.
Okay.
And that's the only other question I have for you. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Eddie. Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, just Mr. Cabata, one for me. Your generator on the roof, is that enclosed?
No, it's going to be, I guess it's just going to be mounted on the, it doesn't have an enclosure.
Okay, that's a diesel generator?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and how is that going to get refueled being on the roof?
We have access to the roof, right? You have the stairwells right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
so-
the stair is gonna, there's access to the roof from this stair.
Okay, so we're just filling it up with cans, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Or my client just sent me a message. It would be a gas generator. Is that natural gas?
Natural gas generator.
gas, right.
Natural gas generator? Wow, I've never seen one. Okay. And is that mounted on springs of any sort? Those are generally, I don't know, I haven't seen a natural gas one, but I know the diesel ones are pretty loud and it's a pretty sizable exhaust outlet on them.
We can provide you with, I guess, the specs for the generator. Yeah.
My concern is just with noise, you know, in those.
Mr. Chairperson, they do make them in natural gas too. Generators.
Do you know if they're as loud as the diesel ones?
No, they are.
They're quieter.
They're much quieter than diesel
Yeah.
ones, and they don't have that big black exhaust tube on the side of them.
Okay. Is there?
They have absorbers too, you know, these generators have absorbers and they,
Yeah,
you know,
that's-
they are pretty silent.
That's my question is, you know, what kind of vibration comes out of that generator? Again,
Yeah,
this is my first
I'd
time.
also like to mention that this whole stair enclosure is going to be concrete. And so we're going to have steel dunnage that would support that generator. Hopefully that could alleviate some of the vibration. It will have absorbers, you know, as recommended by the manufacturer.
Just might want to keep in mind, besides the manufacturer's recommendations, you might want to double check with public service and with their recommendations on how that is mounted and which way the gas is facing. They do have their own regulations too. Might need to look at.
I think these kind of generators are already mounted in other buildings in Jersey City too.
They are mounted in other buildings, but you, my past experience, you can, they can make you change the pad that you mount it on. They have regulations on what kind of pad it goes on and regulations on how the gas is going, what side of the gas is being supplied to it. I'm just making a suggestion that you might want to look into that besides the manufacturer's recommendations.
Understood.
Understood.
My client has used this type of emergency generator on other projects too, so he is familiar with it.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I'm satisfied with that. Anybody else, anything? Okay, thanks, Mr. Gabato.
Thank you.
Council, anything else?
No, that completes our presentation.
Okay, thank you. Is anybody here from the public that wants to comment? If you could just raise your hand. If you're calling in, you can press *9 if you'd like to comment.
Mr. Chair, seeing no public, I move to close the public portion.
Second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Public is closed. Cameron, do you want to wrap us up?
Yes, okay. So in addition to asking the applicant to agree to the conditions in the staff report dated on June 3rd, 2020, we have two conditions. Condition 7, which is to have the vents match the color of the brick on the front facade. Condition 8, which is to relocate the bike rack further from parking space 9 on the architectural drawings to allow for easier parking access. And a 9th condition to detail the specs of the generator on the roof on the final signature plans. Does the applicant agree to those new 3 conditions?
We do, and I just want to confirm for the record, because I didn't get a chance to see that staff report. Those are your typical conditions, I'm assuming, Cameron?
Yes. And agreeing to the, actually, I could share my screen real quick if you want.
I'm good. I mean, you say that they're the typical conditions. We're good with that, and with the 3 additional conditions.
Okay. Well, I froze in the middle of sharing it, but anyway, there it is anyway.
Cameron, this could have been your in to get a skate park on the roof of that there.
Oh my gosh, that's for when I buy my
Right.
Yeah, that'll be my own zoning board application. But all right, well, knowing that the applicant agrees to said conditions and staff report dated June 3rd, 2020, and the 3 new conditions, there are no new variances, and the amendment is largely to conform with PSE&G requirements. And for that, staff recommends approval to the site plan amendments.
Okay, thank you, Cameron.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve case P20-046 as presented to the board tonight.
I second it.
Motion made and seconded for approval.
Okay, Dr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz.
Aye.
Commissioner Dacour.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres.
Aye.
Commissioner Gangudin.
Aye.
Dr. Desai.
Aye.
Commissioner Solowski.
Aye.
Council President Waterman.
Aye.
And Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Motion carries, all in favor with conditions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We have memorialization of resolutions, please.
Yes, we do. We have 11. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to memorialize the following resolutions. First resolution is of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, New Jersey, recommending that a portion of the study area be designated as an area in need of redevelopment with the power of condemnation pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, NJSA 40A:12A-1 at SEEK at incorporated into the boundaries of the scatter site redevelopment area. Resolution 2 is of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City recommending amendments to the Land Development Ordinance to adopt the flood overlay zone, F overlay, and green area ratio, GAR, including amendments to definitions and checklists to City Council of the City of Jersey City. The resolution is of the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City for approval of the review and discussion of amendments to the Land Redevelopment Ordinance, Chapters 345-16 and 345-33, regarding temporary removal of some thresholds for minor site plan review. Next resolution is City of Jersey City Planning Board in the matter of Cole Street Development Company, LLC, and Coles Jersey Development Co. LLC 2, 286-298 Cole Street, 258-282 16th Street, and 311 and 312 17th Street, Block 6003, Lot 1, and Lot 2.01, Block 6004, Lots 1.01, 1.02, and 1.03, Block 6005, Lots 13.01, 13.02, 13.03, and 13.04. Case number on that is P19-183. Decided on May 19, 2020, memorialized on June 9th, 2020. Zone 4, Jersey Avenue Park redevelopment plan, application for preliminary and final major site plan approval with deviations. Resolution number 5 is City of Jersey City Planning Board in the matter of Plaza 8 and 9 Associates, LLC, 242 Hudson Street and 3 2nd Street, Block 11603, Lots 22 and 27. Case number is P20-019. Decided on May 19, 2020, memorialized today, June 9, 2020. Harson's Cove Station Redevelopment Plan, East Waterfront District, application for extension for interim use. Next resolution is City of Jersey City Planning Board in the matter of Cole Street Development Co. LLC at 258-282 16th Street, Block 0003, Lot 2.01, case number P20-031. Decided on May 19, 2020, memorialized today, June 9th, 2020, Zone 4, Jersey Avenue Park redevelopment plan, application for preliminary and final major subdivision approval. Next resolution is number 7, City of Jersey City applicant Jesuits of St. Peter's College Incorporated for administrative amendment approval, 41-45 Highland Avenue, Jersey City, New Jersey, Block 13303, Lots 8 and 9, case number P20-47. Next resolution, number 8, is Jersey City Planning Board applicant FDAD Maple LLC for amended preliminary and final major site plan approval at 89 Monitor Street, formerly referred to as 95 Monitor Street, Block 19003, Lot 8.01, formerly known as Lots 8 and 9, Jersey City, New Jersey, case number on that P20-049. Next resolution is Jersey City applicant Hampshire Urban Renewal Redevelopment LLC and Garfield JC Partners LLC for preliminary and final major subdivision approval, 880, 884, and 900 Garfield Ave. Next, that's Jersey City, New Jersey, Block 21501, Lots 18, 19, and 20. And the case number on that is P20-053. Next resolution, number 10, is the Planning Board of the City of Jersey City approving the city's resiliency master plan documents, including the resiliency master plan, adaptation master plan, and the urban environmental green infrastructure design plan. And the final 11 resolution is Newport Associates Development Company for interim use approval, mobile concrete batching plant at 700 Washington Boulevard, Jersey City, New Jersey, Block 7302, Lot 3.04, case number P20-004.
Okay, could I have a second from somebody?
Second.
Okay, Matt, can we have a roll call for these, please?
Sure. Motion to approve the resolutions. Dr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz.
Aye.
Commissioner Takur.
Aye.
Commissioner Torres.
Aye.
Commissioner Gangadin.
Aye.
Dr. Desai.
Aye.
Council President Waterman. I'm sorry, Council President, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Commissioner Slawski.
Aye.
And Chairman Langston.
Aye.
Motion carries, all in favor for memorialization of the resolutions.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody need an executive session? All good, guys?
All good.
Everybody's good. Doc, how you doing?
One quick thing before we adjourn. Matt, we had an email go out. This is, public record. I don't think we need executive session for a special meeting on August 25th. Is that still a go?
Yeah, a special meeting request, thinking that there was some backup in applications, so we were asking for another meeting date. I wasn't following that necessarily yet. Was there some consensus, or what was your question?
I don't remember how many replies there were. I was asking for the 25th. Just because of the meeting right before that is the 11th. So, if we made it the 18th, that's only a week out. That's going to be
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
juggling the agenda, 2 agendas before we even have the 11th meeting. So, yeah, I think if it's all right with everybody, I'd like to move on the 25th.
Now, Mr. Chair, is this gonna, or Matt, whomever, are these still gonna, we don't have an idea of when we're gonna go back to City Hall?
We don't, no.
So so this one is gonna be like this then, right? Again.
Most likely.
Most likely, all right. Yeah, I mean, I didn't answer because it was too far out, but if we're gonna be doing it like this, it doesn't really matter where I'm at, so I'm okay with either date.
I'm in as much the dark as anyone, really.
Okay.
About when we'll actually be going back to in-person meetings.
Okay.
Same here. I'm okay with either dates if it's going to be done virtually through Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same here. If it's going to be done this way,
I think
till we get a plan on how to meet.
Okay. Sounds good.
If we need to, when we get closer to the date, and if it's looking like it's going to be an in-person meeting, then we'll circle back around. But I'll tell Joey that.
Okay, thanks, Matt. And one other thing, as far as our schedule goes, are we back to a normal schedule again? Our next meeting is going to be the 23rd.
That's right.
Okay, and then we're on the 7th, the 21st, and then the 11th of August.
Yes.
Okay, good. Sounds good. All right, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment then.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Second.
Second. I have a motion and a lot of seconds, so let's just call it adjourned, all right, guys?
Bye-bye.
How are the 2 doctors doing? Dr. Gonzalez, how's things been going with you?
Yeah.
Busy? Be safe.